Yeah, so we're on patience this week, right? Patience this week. Mm. Now, what a big one. What a big one for us. Uh, it's as Susan was saying the other day, we're uh, most aware of impatience when it really strikes us, when something really jarring happens, but really we're impatient a lot of the time because we're leaning forward into the next moment a lot of the time. I remember that speaking to Joseph one time, Joseph Goldstein, he said, so much of the practice is going from leaning forward, leaning forward into the next moment to settling back, coming back and settling back into into this moment, you know? And realizing the poignancy of that we're always leaning into the present moment, even in our meditation. Uh, Sometimes we're actually with this breath, but often we're leaning forward into the next, you know, and that's a deep pattern for us. It's a deep part of our wiring, and um, and it's so ever present. It's so ever present. And for myself, I'm always really concrete about well, how do I turn this into a practice? Oh, I want to be more patient. That's another New Year's resolution. I want to be more patient. Well, how do we be we're not going to be more patient, but how do we practice patience? How do we practice moments of patience so that the patient habit becomes stronger? Yeah. How do we do that? Um, this is how I do it. And it really is about you could choose almost anything. You could choose almost anything, any activity. It's best to choose an activity that you do every day where you will find yourself, lo and behold, you'll find yourself leaning into the present moment. Now, a classic one, and one that I'll mention first, because we all do it every day, unless you're fasting, unless you're a big faster, we eat, right? And it's so common for us to be leaning forward with eating, leaning into the next bite, eating and multitasking, eating and doing something else, eating. And so here's a simple way to practice patience, the practice of patience while eating. Huh? I do this all the time because if I don't, I can get speedy with eating as well at times. There's a lot to do. The way to practice patience with eating, and Susan has said this, you've heard her say this, for 3 bites, and if you can do it for a whole meal, I mean, we do this for a whole meal when we're at the Forest Refuge, when we're on retreat. It's a wonderful practice, and this is two things. This is a twofer. It's also an eating meditation practice, right? It's simply to put the fork down between bites. And you'll see sometimes it's actually hard to put the fork down. There's so much momentum when we're eating. There's so much momentum that it almost hurts to put the fork down. We start to put it down, and you can feel the body going, literally. Check it out. The body itself. You see, we think of patience as something that's a mind thing, right? It's not just a mind thing. Like most things, it's a mind-body thing. It's the body. It's the body that's leaning forward as well. It's the body that's being impulsive, that's wanting to, that's want, and you'll notice that. Let's try putting your fork down and you'll see the body still like lurching almost. If you don't keep it still, it'll actually, where's the food? Where's the next bite? Where's the next bite? It's such a trip. It's such a simple reminder of how we're leaning forward all the time, most of the time, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. but not so often are we really just settling back. Now, in the settling back with food, of course, it's wonderful because when you can do it, okay, this bite, only bite, right? This bite, only bite, right? Take one bite, close your eyes, put the fork down, and taste. You know, the whole world of taste. And some of you have done this, right? It's like, oh my goodness, what part of me? What, you know that part of us that's already so often, oh yeah, it tastes good, one another. Yeah, one another, one another. It's not just this bite of chocolate, it's the next one, it's the next, it's more, it's more. And this is where, this very, very simple, it's part of the water that we swim in, the many little graspings that we do, reaching forward into the next moment. Reaching forward into the next moment. This is where patience and the practice of patience and the lack of it becomes completely visible. Another one is listening. Listening. Yeah. Yeah. I get to practice this one a lot. Um, um, and so often, it's not that we don't listen. It's that we're often listening uh, into the next moment. We're listening, thinking about what we're already going to say when the person finishes speaking. We already know, or we already know what they're going to say. We're rushing. We're rushing to hear and to respond. We do this exercise sometimes on retreat, a speaking and listening exercise. Speaking only, listening only. No back and forth talking. It's a practice of patience as well as a practice of listening. Yeah, right. And it's actually quite hard for people to just listen. The instruction is, this person is just speaking. You just settle back and listen. Just settle back and listen. It sounds so simple. It's not simple. The people will be sitting there going, yeah, like, I hear you. I hear you. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I get it. I know that experience too. Uh-huh. As opposed to just listening, right? Listening takes nerves, not muscles. We don't listen like this, right? We listen. Sound comes to us, but it's hard for us to listen patiently. Again, if you'll notice, there's always that impulse, that forward impulse into the next moment impulse, the impatience in listening, the impatience in listening. When we do our mindful couples retreat, whenever we do one of those, we may do one of these online with BCBS. One of the things that relationships get into trouble with is not listening well to each other, even within your primary relationship. And we have to actually help people to just listen, just be patiently listening. Now, you can do this with almost any activity during the day. I also do it with brushing teeth. You've heard me talk about brushing teeth. I'm multitasking. It's time to brush teeth. No more multitasking. I do this all the time. Close my eyes and just brush and actually be with, and I'll see the impatience, but it's a practice of patience. Just keeping it simple, just keeping it simple, just keeping it simple. So we have multiple opportunities. And the other thing with that is to take a breath. This is good, whether it's listening, whether it's eating, whatever it is, because we want to get the body, back it off just a little bit from its forward leaning, from its forward leaning into impatience to just one breath, just one breath, just one breath. Yeah, yeah. So wherever you can, it could be in line at the grocery store, yeah. The leaning forward. It doesn't get us through the line any faster. Impatience doesn't get us through anything any more quickly. Here we are. Can we just take a breath? Can we just take one breath and settle back? Okay, the speed's going to come on again. I can't stay there. We're not talking about staying anywhere, but we are talking about finding many ways each day to invite the new patient habit. It's a new habit. It's a new habit. It's a new habit, which will get stronger if you do that many times a day, wherever you do it, for just a moment, for just a moment. Oh, one breath. Right. We can do that many times a day. We don't always have 10 minutes. Yeah. But we do have that opportunity many times a day to go, whoa, here I am leaning. One breath. So however you do it, it's a big one for us. Again, restlessness is the biggest challenge for almost all of us. Restlessness in one form or another, and the impatience is one of those forms in which restlessness takes up residence. Yeah. So please practice to your degree. It's one of the paramis for a reason. And it's one of the qualities that also deepens our meditation practice when we get better at the patient habit. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So so thank you for your kind attention there.